through dialogue, we had built a comprehensive peace framework. And again, this was dictated by the CIA. They're not soft people. I am soft. I am the peace activist, and I wanted the sanctions to be lifted because I cared deeply about the suffering of the Iraqi people. And I would have loved your father. Your father and I would have had a very good time together. We could have had a good cup of coffee together. We would have been great. But these people were not the people who were supervising me. Were not just allowing me to go off and do things for myself and for my own agenda. They were demanding that the things that I did had to achieve results for the United States. So here's what we came up with, and here's what the Iraqis agreed to. They agreed to weapons inspections with no conditions, meaning the United States would have an authorization to go everywhere they wanted to go.
And I remember that.
That was something we negotiated that. I personally sat down with on numerous occasions.
With Tariq? Did you sit down with Tariq Aziz?
No. I was dealing with in New York with the senior diplomats at the United Nations, and I was dealing with the ambassador to the United Nations, Saeed Hassan, who then became deputy foreign minister of Iraq.
So let me ask you this. Okay. I don't want to stop you here, but I just have to know. Do you believe that these people that were running the government over there, that the media just basically painted a light on them that we could paint on anyone? On any politician? Just about?
Yeah. You can one of the things that I have found is that the corporate media has very little truth in it at all. It's just like they rely on stereotypes. They take easy shortcuts. They don't dig too deep. They don't look very far. They just
want ratings. They just want ratings. It's that simple. They want ratings so they can get the money from the people that support them, from their sponsors. It's that simple. At the end of the day, that's what they say. At the end of the day, this is what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And my wife the other day was telling me, or no, it was my brother, I'm sorry. He was telling me that it used to be years ago that the press would call the government and ask what they could report. So we have come a long way. I just think that there's so much happening so fast. It's like, how do you focus on what's important enough to talk about?
Yeah.
I mean, we know that we're being lied to.
If you're worrying about Kim Kardashian.
Well, we know people do that, though. Let's be realistic. People are doing that because they need something to take their mind off of what they can't deal with. Not everyone is like us and is going to face things head on and say, you know what? I can't just look at this and ignore it. Okay?
Yeah.
And I know that.
That's right.
And I know that.
That's
so
right.
I'm trying to be more patient with people I'm trying to reach out to and, not force my view on them. I really want them to come to it on their own if possible. My little brother was, he kind of pointed that out to me the other day, that I'm so gung-ho about what I'm doing that I was preaching to the choir and I didn't even know it with him. See, the last time I talked to him, he was believing in the whole college-based philosophy of, you go to college, you get your degree, you get a job, you work, you put it away for retirement, you get 401k, you get stocks, you retire, the whole thing. And I remember 2 years ago telling him, dude, I'm going to tell you what I just did? I sold my 401k and I paid the taxes on it. You want to know why? Because I just doubled my money. I just doubled my money, dude. I'm not going to worry about what they stole from me because of what I know I can have. And, I think that's the difference. It's like, people are trying to figure out where to invest. Right now it's kind of difficult. Where do we invest? What can we hold on to? Where do we spend our time? The Kardashians are all some people have, because if they try to focus on this, they'll lose their mind. I know ever since I've gone down the rabbit hole.
That's what I want to say to people, that a really important message of my book is that, throughout, even though, a lot of it is about the Patriot Act, and a lot of it is, and I
don't want to forget that. I definitely want to make sure before the show's over that we cover what happened, because nobody even knows what happened yet, which is kind of good, because maybe they're going to listen to it, and now they're going to hear why they need to be listening to it if they're still listening.
Yeah, but the thing is, the message is one of hope, though, because you ask, why should people still believe that we can change things? And in fact, if we communicate with each other, we engage in dialogue with each other, even the Iraqi conflict could have been solved because there was this peace framework. And it was, like I said, the weapons inspections, which our team did the discussions for, the preliminary talks for. It was oil. The Iraqis were willing to give us all the oil we wanted. They were willing to give us special concessions, primary concessions for oil. They were also willing to give the United States preferential contracts in reconstruction for telecommunications, healthcare, hospital equipment, pharmaceuticals, transportation. They were willing to buy 1 million American-made automobiles every year.
So you're telling me we could have put a satellite on every roof in Iraq and they would have let us do it and been really happy?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That would have just been,
they
just imagine what that would have done.
Anything we wanted. They wanted to be, Saddam had been a close ally of the United States until the invasion of Kuwait. And he remembered those days and quite longingly, and he was always like, he saw himself as a counterpoint to Iran.
So why did he invade? Why did he invade Kuwait? In your opinion, I got to say it's your opinion.
I think he invaded it because he wanted the oil, but also I do believe that April Glaspie, the United States ambassador at the time, gave him the wink and said, "Go ahead." I think she was a foolish, stupid woman who was out of her depth and who said, "Oh yeah, it's going to be all right." What does the United States think? Oh, sure, go ahead. Well, what a disaster! What a horrible thing! And they should have said, "Don't you even dare!" And he would have stopped.
Nobody told him he shouldn't do it.
They did not tell him to stop. They told him it was okay. They said, because he called in the ambassador and he said, "So, what are you going to do if I do this?" And she said, "Oh, we're not going to have an opinion. If you do that, then it's going to be all right." So he took that as the United States is going to tolerate this if I do it. And what she should have said is, "Don't you even dare think about it. We'll pound you back into the Stone Age." And that's what's hurt. She failed very badly. She failed and destroyed.
Now, who is this? What's her name again?
April Glaspie.
And what was her title?
She was the U.S. ambassador to Iraq in Baghdad before the first Gulf War.
Okay.
And so you go from, it's funny because you go from April Glaspie to me, and you go, because of course then we have no ambassadors, and so I'm filling in this role as back channel, and fortunately, I have a really good education. I have a master's degree from the London School of Economics and an undergraduate degree from Smith College in Massachusetts, which is a really outstanding school. But I had worked as a congressional staffer. I had been a journalist, and I was truly an anti-sanctions activist, deeply, passionately opposed to the Iraqi sanctions. So we did this dialogue, but the thing is, dialogue can achieve results. When we're dealing with the Middle East right now, it's a terrifying thing. Like, I'm watching this stuff, and I am very much afraid that we're not going to be able to put the genie back in the bottle. I am afraid that if we don't, like, Egypt should be okay, but these other countries that don't have a lot of economic diversity are going to have some very serious problems, and just getting rid of Gaddafi is not going to solve the problems of Libya.
It's funny that you say that you use that term, because I think that's exactly what has happened. The genie, I do believe, in my opinion, is out of the bottle.
Yes.
How you can't take away a fire that has started. You can't just take it away. You might be able to put it out, but you can't take it away.
Yes.
So,
yes.
When you've got a house full of kindling, and you start in one corner, and another one starts over somewhere else. I mean, it's flashover is a real thing. So, I don't I really don't know what's going to happen. And, I think we're all just kind of holding our breath. But the reality is nobody knows what's going to happen. And nobody's ever seen anything like this before. Right?
Yeah, I have to tell you, it's not good. One of the reasons that, I'm probably going to sound a lot more conservative than I really am. I am a peace activist. I have a long reputation.
You don't have to
as a
be
peace
peaceful.
activist.
You don't have to be a liberal to be a peace activist. That's the problem.
Well,
And I will close this out. And before we close it out, what I want to say is that we've got to get rid. The two-party system has got to come down, or we're destined for. We're going to repeat this mistake, this 50-year or 100-year, 200-year long mistake. We're not all bad, but we are not all good. And we've got to get rid of this two-party. I mean, we need more parties, period. And people need to believe.
I agree with you. And let me tell you, we call them in Washington, we call them the money party. And it doesn't matter if they're Democrat. It doesn't matter if they're Republican. They're working for corporate interests, not the people. And that's the problem.
And Jefferson said that was going to be, or maybe it was Madison. I can't remember which one, but one of them said that we should fear them much more than we need to fear another country taking us over.
Yes, I think that's true. I do, but I think that the upheaval we're seeing in the Middle East is a lot of it has to do with young people. The politicians, excuse me, the populations are like 50% people under the age of 25. Okay, so 50% of the population is under the age of 25, and they have no jobs. Some of them have great educations, like they're trained for engineering, finance, technology, computers, but there are no computer jobs. There's no engineering jobs because everything is so they're driving taxis. They're, they have no future.
It's, what it sounds to me like? I mean, the only thing I can compare it with, as far as things that I have come across in my life, is a ghetto.
Yeah.
It's ghetto mentality. And I'm not trying to say ghetto like ghetto clothes. I mean, you know what I mean. It's you don't have anything, you have nothing to lose. So why not just go and hurt somebody and take what's there, what's not yours? Why not? Because you have nothing else to lose. Nobody cares about you. Nobody's going to care about you.
And you see that the people who have everything are very selfish. And, I mean, and in the Middle East, let me tell you, I mean, in the Middle East, the guys who are the wealthy sheiks, the Saudi families, the extravagant wealth, throwing around money like it's like throwing water in the desert. Like using up the water resources to build golf courses in Emirates.
It's basically They're westernizing. They're westernizing. They figure it's their turn.
And I know everybody loves golf courses, and Lord, I wish I knew how to golf too.
I don't mind a golf course.
But if you're in the desert, you have to prize water. And see, these people take from others who don't have anything, and then that builds the resentment. That's where I'm going with this.
Well, and it's not just there. It starts from the top down. I'm not anti-capitalist. I'm not anti-Republican. I'm not anti-Democrat. What I am is anti-theft. And I'm anti-mooch. Okay? If you haven't read Atlas Shrugged, you need to go get the Cliff Notes if you don't want to read however many 112, 16, 1700 pages it is. But, that will tell you what I believe. And, Ron Paul, I'm arm to arm with Ron Paul. That's all you got to know about me to know what I believe. And I used to think Ron Paul's economic policies would wreak disaster on this earth. But you know what? We don't need to wait for that because it's going to happen anyway. It's happening anyway. So now I'm like, oh, God, come on, Ron Paul. I used to think the same way that, we've got to have these social programs. And I mean, I'm not saying there's not a place for that, but here's what Ron Paul would say. It's not up to the government. It's up to the individuals to take care of each other. The government was never the government was never given the right to be the federal police or the world's police according to our Constitution.
Yep, that's right.